Happy Wednesday, DockHound fans, and welcome to the DockHaus for DockHaus Dialogue with Dom, our third week of action and our final episode of November before we head into Thanksgiving week next week, and then we'll be back with 3 more shows in December here at the DockHaus. I'm Dominic Stearn, play-by-play broadcaster here for the Lake Country DockHounds, and tonight I'm thrilled to be joined by one of the members of our ownership group here at the DockHounds, Sonny Bando. How are you doing tonight, Sonny?
Good, Dom. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, thanks for being a last-minute audible. I've really wanted to have you on as a guest. Paul Wagner, our pitching coach, was unable to make it tonight, but I think that with your relationship in baseball in southeastern Wisconsin and also the fact that you are a member of the ownership here with the DockHounds, you provide a very interesting perspective on things with the baseball scheme here. And you were a part of the founding members of DockHounds Baseball. And I just want you to explain to our audience who maybe don't know who you are and what was behind the DockHounds vision, what it is.
Sure. Well, I'm not going to take credit for the vision. My partner, Tom and Lisa Kelnick, this is an extension of what their vision was many years ago in Waukesha, which was to provide a tournament facility, high quality, lighted facility for youth and high school sports in Waukesha County that didn't exist. And they were the pioneers of having an outdoor facility. As they continued to see the growth and the popularity of it, Tom said, hey, I'd like to see if we can maybe take the next step and perhaps join a semi-professional or a collegiate league and build a small stadium. And, what are your thoughts? And so I said, I think it's great. I think Waukesha County is perfect for it. And that was really the genesis of how this all started.
And it's a great opportunity being between Madison and Milwaukee to offer an opportunity for sports fans to have a place kind of in between for those who maybe don't want to also go further east to Milwaukee, but those who don't want to go to Madison to be here. And it's a sports hub, and it's a gorgeous facility. How did it all unfold for you guys to design Wisconsin Brewing Company Park the way that it is?
Yeah, well, I'd be lying if I said we thought of it would look like this when we first started. We had a couple different renditions, and obviously when we decided to make the move to a professional league, there were a lot of requirements and standards that we had to have. And so the stadium got bigger. We added more amenities, and we needed to keep up with the standard of professional baseball. So certainly after it was built, we thought we can do some things different had we done it all over. But for the most part, it was a lot of planning, designing, and listening to other owners in the league and what they've done. And it's full circle, and I think we'll continue to evolve over the next 5-10 years to constantly keep up with what the entertainment trends are, what minor league baseball facilities are adding these days, and what we have to keep up to be standard for the league.
And, of course, nothing comes easy when it comes to building a facility like this, especially in a smaller town like Oconomowoc. And I know that there was a lot of hurdles for you guys to go through, Pewaukee, also Waukesha in general. How rewarding was it for you when you finally got that stamp of approval that you were able to go start building Wisconsin Brewing Company Park?
It was a huge sigh of relief. It was a double-edged sword, though. The minute we got approval from the city that we were allowed to proceed, about 2 weeks later, the governor shut down the state. And so here we are trying to sell our product to lenders for financing. At the same time, people are watching Major League Baseball with no fans in the stands. And, of course, most of our revenue is from people coming to watch. So it was a challenge, but we never quit, and we never gave up. And thank God that we have some partners that really stepped up, local business owners in the community that really believed in our mission and continue to support us every day.
And it's one thing to buy into just this belief and this imagination to bring baseball to Oconomowoc, but then it's one thing to actually see it out there. What was it like the moment that the first pitch was thrown by Alex McRae and you actually saw the baseball here in this place where you call home?
Honestly, it was a little bit of a fog. There were so many moving parts. We literally got our occupancy permit an hour before the gates opened. So we had temporary fencing up. We a lot of people running around, just kind of going by feel, and I was able to just take a step back and really thank God and appreciate our partners that supported us and didn't give up on us. And it was a touching moment for me personally.
You would have no idea that the building didn't get its approval to have people on it until an hour before the gates open. That's pretty remarkable, and I'm sure that your heart was just racing like mad leading up to that day.
It was. I mean, we were gluing this floor down that we're looking at here when people were parking. So it was a little nerve-wracking. But again, it was very rewarding that we were able to pull it off.
And then not only that, you're able to complete the first season. Now you've gone through 3 years with the Lake Country DockHounds. And then this year, the team made the playoffs for the first time in franchise history. Last year, you saw the team have a winning record, 27-23. Here at home, which isn't the goal, but it certainly helps to be better at home than on the road because the fans are going to be more entertained and become more likened to the product. What was it like to see postseason baseball here this year?
Well, it was a real special moment, and I will be honest, I give all credit to my partner Tom, who serves as the player procurement director. I mean, he's got a team that scouts and has agents involved and competes against a lot of other high-quality teams in our league. So for him to field a team and make some trades and pick up some players to make a run at the second half was really just a great credit to him and very exciting.
And if you don't follow us on our social media platforms, at DockHounds Baseball on Instagram, at DockHounds on Twitter, and we also have a Facebook page as well. We've been announcing that some players have already signed their contracts to return for the upcoming 2025 season, year 4 of DockHounds Baseball. So that's super exciting as well. And you mentioned Tom. Tom will be a future guest on DockHaus Dialogue with Tom. So that plan is in December when he'll be with his 2 sons, Jared and JT. Very excited for that episode and that show. So be on the looks for more news about that. And you mentioned Tom and your relationship that you've been able to build with him. You went to school with him, and now you've built this project together. What does it mean to you to have that sort of relationship with someone who you have a similar vision for a project that means so much to both you guys and both your passions, but also just bringing it to home as well?
It's been a great story, and it's been a great ride. I mean, we went to college together and stayed in touch throughout the years. It's funny, when you go through periods of talking to each other and then periods of not talking to each other, when you catch up, you try to learn about your families, your kids. And I remember him telling me many years ago that his son is a really good baseball player, and he's going to make it. And, he's in 7th grade, but I'm telling you, he's going to be a really good player. And, of course, I've heard that before, and I'm like, whatever, 7th grader, whatever, yeah, okay, that's cool. Fast forward, here he is in the major leagues, and being able to see the progress of him working hard every year, never giving up, pushing himself, hitting the weight room, doing the extra reps, it pays off. And that's a true testament to the work ethic that he has, his son Jared has, and JT for that matter. So it's been great. He's just a salt-of-the-earth guy, and his wife Lisa and their family, they're just good people.
Yeah, Jared, top 10 pick, former top 10 prospect, just completed his 4th Major League Baseball season, first with the Atlanta Braves, and know that the future's bright for him as well as for JT, who's going into his sophomore year of college baseball. Towards the end of the year, especially while the team was getting really hot and pushing towards the Miles Wolf Cup playoffs, the crowd really started to buy in. Fans were staying a little bit longer. The crowds, they were growing in terms of size. You got the sense that maybe some casual fans were starting to become more diehard fans, and word was going around town and just the Waukesha County as well. Was that kind of what you had envisioned, that people were really going to rally around this team and bring a ton of energy to these games that made this product incredible?
You don't really know what it's like until you experience it and go through it. I mean, you have these ideas that there's going to be all these fans cheering, and the catcher's going to jump on the pitcher, and it's just going to be a big celebration. and you can envision that, and you see it in other leagues and on TV, but when you really experience it and you feel the energy and you see the happiness on these kids and really the happiness on the players. I mean, they're just big kids. So when you see them excited and celebrating the hard work over a 100-game season, it's very rewarding for everyone.
And it's a grind that your family can certainly appreciate because you are the son of former Major League Baseball player, 3-time World Series champion, 2-time MVP finalist Sal Bando. What does baseball mean to you generally, just because you grew up around the game?
Well, baseball is all our family knows. I was born, I was a product of a World Series winner, and I was young when my father retired. I was 8 years old, so I really didn't grasp the coolness of it as much as I did when I got older. But I'm humbled by it. Some of the childhood memories I have and the stories of County Stadium and the Coliseum in Oakland, and just being around guys like Joe DiMaggio and Willie Mays and Reggie Jackson, and I never take it for granted ever. And it's just something that I'm very humbled and fortunate to be a part of. That's part of the reason why I get such a kick out of seeing kids here enjoy being around the ball field, because it's very rewarding.
All right, it's a reminder of what you got to experience. I don't want to say on a lesser level, but when you see those kids get that experience, it's something that not a lot of kids got at a major league stadium. Now, of course, you with your father, you did get that experience, but I think the intimacy here of the Lake Country DockHounds is kind of what has inspired this whole image for you. Is that correct?
It's very true. Kids, they look up to these players and they want to act like them. They dress like them. They have the same batting stance, pitching stance. They emulate what these guys are doing out there. So, we want to have quality, good guys play on the DockHounds, but we also need to have good community have them be members of the community in a stand-up fashion, because it's all about the kids. I mean, there's not going to be a better story when some kid who says, I went to the DockHounds as a kid and now I'm playing here. I mean, to me, that's the ultimate goal, is to have kids who experience this here play for us someday.
And then it's also been really cool just for myself being immersed more in the community this offseason, just because I'm now living here during the offseason, but to go to downtown Oconomowoc and see a kid dressed as Louie, seeing some kids dressed in their DockHounds jersey for their Halloween costumes, and seeing these kids not only just come to the games and enjoy them, but truly embrace the experience and be a local player, because it's an experience that, I had a great experience growing up in San Diego and going to Padres games, but I never felt that connection with any of the players or the mascot or anything like that, because it was a much bigger feel. They feel like they are a part of it because they can go high-five the players before the game. They can be right up on the net behind them when they're in the on-deck circle. They can go stand right by the bullpen. It's truly an experience that you can't get at the major league level unless you are getting the $1,000+ seats.
Yeah, and you mentioned it, that they're part of the community. They are. They live with families that live in the community. So, a lot of these guys, they stay in touch with their host families, and these host families have kids, and they become an extended family member, which is great. I mean, when these players are away from maybe their family and fiance or wives, and they stay with another family, it's important that they feel welcomed and they feel like this is their second home. And this community has totally embraced it, and we're very lucky to have this community that embrace it like they have.
I text pretty much on the daily with my second host family, so I greatly appreciate the relationship that I have with them, and I know that they really appreciated me, being a part of their family while all of their kids, they were down south in Texas and Oklahoma, so I got to be a part of their family, and they have a picture of me in their house now. I got them a Robin Yount signed card, which was awesome, and my host mom, she has a foot nerve issue, and she jumped for joy when she saw that card. So it was a really cool moment, and it's something that I think families could really benefit from in this area if they fully immerse themselves with the DockHounds baseball community, and they allow these players or, a broadcaster to chase their dreams.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. There is a downside. Obviously, these players don't always stay here 100 games.
Yes.
Certainly, if there's a trade or release them, those host families are really not happy. So it's part of the business. We try to explain that in the beginning, but sometimes you can't overcome the bonding that these families have with these guys.
And it was nicer to see this year with a more steady team. There were fewer players on the DockHounds roster as a whole this season, and maybe that'll be the case now that we've established more winning this season with this upcoming 2025 campaign. And for your father, he got to have 2 long tenures in his stops along the way in Oakland and then in Milwaukee. While you were there, did you get any experiences with any players or coaches that really stuck out to you? I know you mentioned Joe DiMaggio the other day while you were in an Old Timers game in Oakland, but are there any other stories that maybe stand out to you looking back?
Yeah, you have certain memories as a child that you remember. The father-son games that I mentioned at County Stadium, those were always cool. My older brother, and I would always love that day. We'd put our whole Brewer uniform on, go play catch with the pros and the other sons of the pros and daughters. So that's an awesome memory. I do remember one specific memory. Same era, I was in 7, 8, 9-year-old. It was a Sunday home game, and on Sundays, because the game started, usually 1 o'clock, there wouldn't be time for guys to go to church, so they would have a Sunday chapel session. And I went to chapel with my father every Sunday that he was working, and I remember sitting on Robin Yount's kneecap as a little kid, listening to the chaplain like it was just no big deal. And to me, it just, now that I think about it today, what Robin's accomplished and how fortunate I was, that's a special memory for me, and it's something that I'll never forget.
Yeah, that's an amazing story. My goodness, wow. You got to, get the word of God while sitting on, the Brewers legend,
yeah.
the greatest player in Brewers baseball history. And then after his playing career, your father was the general manager for the Milwaukee Brewers as well. Does it make you appreciate what Tom does for the Lake Country DockHounds? Because we also have Trish, our actual general manager, who does a terrific job, but Tom handles the player duties, which is more of what your dad did. Does it make you appreciate what Tom does? Because it's a very hard job, and there's a lot of randomness with what goes on with the players.
Absolutely. It's a cutthroat job. Very little reward. A lot of time and sacrifice. I was very fortunate during those times when he was a general manager. I was living at home, and I was going to school in Milwaukee, and my brothers were out doing their thing. They weren't living in Milwaukee, but I was able to go to the ballpark almost every night and sit in the box with him and take it all in. And a lot of those times, Bud Selig, the then president of the Brewers, would come in, and a lot of times he would complain. A lot of times it would be, talk about strategy, talk about what we should do with other players. And I was a fly on the wall. I just listened to it all. I took it all in. And again, as a kid, you go to the ballpark and you're like, well, big deal. Guys are playing baseball. How hard is this job? There's so much to putting a baseball team and the marketing and the corporations and the fans and the interaction. It's a lot of work. And so experiencing it now with Tom and putting a product on the field every day to be competitive, putting an entertainment venue together every day and staying fresh with it, it's a lot of work. But we're only as good as the people that work with us. And so I'm not going to sit here and take any of the credit. Our staff, our team, the people that work behind the scenes, they're all rock stars. And without them, all credit goes to them.
Yeah, we truly have a great staff here at the Lake Country DockHounds, and I, of course, knew that before I came on full-time, and I was just only here on game days, and I got to experience it, and I, of course, know what goes into the behind-the-scenes stuff. But now that I'm here every day and working with all these people, it's truly a terrific staff. Just a couple more things before we wrap up. Thank you, Sonny, so much for joining me tonight on DockHaus Dialogue with Dom. But now that your kids get to grow up and they get to experience DockHounds baseball, they also get the luxury of some very neat experiences with the Milwaukee Brewers as well. How do you think this all inspires your kids to live out their dreams?
That's a loaded question.
It is a loaded question. That's why I put it on there.
My father passed away a couple years ago, and so you tend to really appreciate how I grew up and what he had taught me, and how I didn't really pay attention to what he had to say because I thought I knew it all as a kid, right? So, I try to tell my son, my dream was trying to play baseball. It didn't happen, but I'm still in the business of baseball. It's a lot of work to make it to even this level. It's a lot of work to make it to college baseball. If that's your goal and that's what you want to do, here's what you need to do to help you get there. It's up to you to make the effort. If you don't want to do that, I love you more. I don't love you more or less. So it's got to be your dream. If you want to work here, if you want to play here, be a part of it. I welcome that. I would love that. And the same for my daughter. If she wants to be a part of this and experience this, or play softball, or play volleyball, or whatever sports, I love them no matter what. They got to put the effort in if they want to keep going, though.
Yeah, it's really hard to even play in high school baseball.
Absolutely.
I think players who stop playing after high school deserve more credit than they get. Yep. I say that selfishly, of course. But like you said, there's other ways to be in baseball. Like myself, you get into broadcasting. You go to Arizona State, which is also where your dad happened to go. He, of course, played baseball there. I broadcasted baseball there, and now here I am. It's kind of a funny full circle moment. Wish I got the chance to meet Sal, but I know that he's a big part of the vision that is DockHounds baseball.
Dom, I got a soft spot for you because you are a Sun Devil, and one of the best broadcasters in the game, Al Michaels, also started in his career in Arizona State, and he broadcasted the baseball games. So he's got some great stories about Sal and Al and Arizona State, but Arizona is my second home. I've gone there since spring training as a kid and continuing to go there every winter for some sun and warmth. But when I heard that you studied and graduated and broadcasted at ASU, I said we have to keep you here as long as we can before we lose you.
Well, I'm happy to be here, but I won't lie. There are some days where you miss Arizona a little bit, and when you see snow falling for the second time in your life like I did today, you definitely miss Arizona a little bit. Also my home in Southern California. Last topic before we wrap up this, once again, thank you so much, is where do you see DockHounds baseball going? Because we're not going to give away everything that's going to be going on this upcoming season that's going to roll out as we approach opening day in May, but where do you see this growing in terms of the community and just everything that we do here in Oconomowoc?
Good question. We've spent the last few years really trying to figure out exactly what this community wants to see and what they embrace from a baseball game perspective. And I think we've done a pretty good job of offering different experiences, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't work. And I think we'll see a lot of different appearances, fireworks, drone show, helicopter candy money drop, stuff like that I think we'll continue to do. We really want to make it 50 home games or 50 celebrations, right? This is grown into a community asset. This is not just DockHound fans, but it's Lake Country entertainment at its finest. And, I think we just want to provide an entertainment value that's family friendly, of course, very affordable, and something that, parents can come and the kids can run around, have fun, and parents can just relax a little bit and enjoy the Lake Country vibe, which is awesome in the summer out here.
It is far more than baseball here at Wisconsin Brewing Company Park, and even in entertainment season, as we call the months outside of the baseball season in the American Association. Can't wait for the 2025 season, but until then, I think the DockHaus Dialogue with Dom and all the other events that we have going on here will do. Sonny, thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for trusting me to broadcast all of your DockHounds baseball games. It's truly an honor, and greatly appreciated your time tonight.
Dom, thanks for having me, and I appreciate all you do for us.
Yeah, we got no DockHaus Dialogue with Dom next week, as we're not doing the DockHouse on Wednesday. I call it Thanksgiving Eve. There's also another name for that day. We don't need to call it that. But the following Wednesday, we will be back. Mitchell Mueller, DockHounds reliever. He was one of the big reasons why the Lake Country DockHounds were able to turn around the 2024 season and make the Miles Wolf Cup playoffs in the postseason for the first time in franchise history. Really looking forward to having him on once again, the following Wednesday, so 2 weeks from now. We're going to start those at 5:45 instead of 5:30 like we have been. Thanks again, Sonny, and thank you all for coming out to the DockHaus tonight.